One day, I was sitting with my grandfather when he looked at me and asked, "Son, if all you do is earn money but never grow it, do you really think your life will ever change?" His question left me speechless. The truth was, I worked hard every month and earned a paycheck, but by the end of the month, my bank account was always back to zero. Grandpa smiled and said, "The truth isn't always easy to hear, but you need to understand this. No one becomes wealthy just by earning money. People become wealthy by making their money grow." I looked at him and asked, "What do you mean by making money grow?" He leaned back and replied, "Most people spend their entire lives trading their time for money. They work, they get paid, and then they spend everything they earned. But a few people build systems where their money starts working for them. That's the difference between an average person and a wealthy one." His words stayed with me. For the first time, I realized that maybe the problem wasn't how much I earned, it was the way I thought about money. Then Grandpa asked another question. "If your income stopped today, how many days could you survive?" I thought about it, and the answer made me uncomfortable. He nodded and said, "That's your real financial reality. Right now, you're not truly free. You're trapped in a cycle. You work, you get paid, and then the money disappears. The cycle keeps repeating until you decide to break it." Grandpa always reminded me that time never waits for anyone. Every single day, it watches what you do with your money, and those decisions quietly shape your future. I listened more carefully than ever before. "You work incredibly hard," he continued, "so why do you still run out of money before the month ends? Because you know how to earn money, but you haven't learned how to make money create more money." I asked, "So how does that actually happen?" Grandpa smiled. "Money doesn't grow because of hard work alone. It grows through systems, discipline, patience, and by putting it to work again and again." Grandpa paused for a moment before saying something I've never forgotten. "If hard work alone made people rich, every construction worker in the world would be a millionaire. Hard work creates income, but systems create wealth." His words completely changed the way I looked at money. "There's another truth you need to understand," he continued. "The biggest trap for the middle class isn't low income, it's their mindset. From childhood, we're taught to study hard, get a secure job, and play it safe. But almost no one teaches us how money actually grows." I sat there thinking, he was right. No one had ever explained it that way before. "We sacrifice tomorrow's freedom for today's comfort," Grandpa said. "That's why so many people spend their entire lives working without ever becoming financially free." I was ready to learn how to break that cycle. Grandpa looked at me and said, "Let me give you a simple example. There are two young men. They earn the exact same salary and live in the same city. A few years later, though, their lives look completely different." "How?" I asked. "The first man gets paid and immediately upgrades his lifestyle. He buys the newest phone, new clothes, goes out more often, and spends money trying to look successful. He believes he's moving forward, but he's actually walking into a trap." "What kind of trap?" "The lifestyle trap," Grandpa answered. "As income goes up, spending goes up even faster. Before long, he's buried under bills, monthly payments, and constant financial pressure. The worst part is that he doesn't even realize he's trapped." I slowly nodded because I had seen people living exactly like that. "Now look at the second man," Grandpa continued. "Grow." "So he just saves it?" I asked. Grandpa shook his head. "Not just saving. Saving protects your money. Investing helps your money grow. That's the difference between ordinary thinking and smart thinking." He explained that the second man puts his money into investments that gradually begin producing returns. At first, the progress seems almost invisible, and many people quit because they think nothing is happening. But that, Grandpa said with a smile, is exactly where the real game begins. Grandpa picked up a small seed from the ground and held it in his hand. "Money is just like this seed," he said. "If you plant it today, you can't expect a tree tomorrow. First, it grows roots. Then, little by little, it grows stronger. One day, that tiny seed becomes a tree that keeps producing fruit. I finally understood what he meant. Building wealth wasn't about getting rich overnight. It was about giving your money enough time to grow. During the first year, Grandpa continued, you may not notice much. The second year might not look very different either. Even the third year can feel slow. That's when most people give up because they expect quick results. He looked at me and smiled. But the people who stay patient are the ones who win. He explained that after several years, the second man's investments began earning money on their own. As time passed, those returns became larger and larger. Eventually, Grandpa said, his money started bringing in almost as much as his salary. And one day, he reached a point where working became a choice instead of a necessity. That sentence stayed with me. There's a huge difference, Grandpa said, between working because you have to and working because you want to. Financial freedom is when your money gives you that choice. I nodded quietly. So remember this, he continued. At first, you work for money. Later, if you're patient and disciplined, your money starts working for you. That's the turning point most people never reach because they quit too early. Then Grandpa became serious. There's another challenge you need to overcome. The human mind wants instant results. It hates waiting. That's why so many people fail with investing. Investing is slow, quiet, and often invisible in the beginning. Spending, on the other hand, is fast, exciting, and easy. But one builds your future while the other steals it. By then, everything was becoming clear. The real battle wasn't just about money. It was about learning to control myself first. Grandpa looked me straight in the eyes and said, "The day you learn to control your mind is the day you'll begin controlling your money. And once you can control your money, you have the power to control your future." I sat there in silence, thinking about everything he had told me. For the first time, I realized that financial freedom wasn't about earning a bigger paycheck. It was about making smarter decisions with the money I already had. "Let me leave you with a simple rule," Grandpa said. "Every time you get paid, pay yourself first. Set aside a portion of your income before you spend a single dollar. Don't treat investing as something you'll do with whatever is left over. Make it your priority." He explained that consistency matters more than the amount. "It doesn't matter if you start small," he said. "What matters is that you start and never stop. Wealth isn't built overnight. It's built one smart decision at a time." As the conversation came to an end, I looked back at my own habits. I had always believed that earning more money would solve every problem. Now I understood that without discipline, even a higher income would disappear just as quickly. That afternoon changed the way I thought about money forever. I no longer wanted to spend my entire life chasing the next paycheck. I wanted to build a future where my money worked as hard as I did. Grandpa smiled as if he already knew what I was thinking. "Remember," he said, "your future isn't decided by how much you earn today. It's decided by what you choose to do with that money over time. Small, consistent actions may not seem powerful at first, but years from now, they can completely change your life." I nodded with a new sense of purpose. That day, I didn't just learn how money works. I learned that real wealth begins with the right mindset, grows through discipline and patience, and eventually creates something far more valuable than money